now, ladies and gentlemen,
The Funky Butt Club is proud to present
The divas who believe her.
the legend, the icon,
The man who put the I am in iambic pentameter.
the toast of Mayfair.
It's the musical show.
Dang, dang, diggity, dang, 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 diggity, dang, dang. Tina, you're on.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to the musical show on Spreaker.com. I am, of course, your host, Matt Stevens. I hope everybody's having a lovely Sunday. And if you're actually listening to me instead of watching the Super Bowl, then applause to you. I'm doing the show regardless. It is, of course, on mute over my shoulder, but that's a story for another day. At the Matt Show 365 on Twitter, at the Musical Show 365 on the Instagram. So the last time we met was the first show of the year, and of course it was opening numbers. So because it's the Super Bowl and I need a little hook to maybe get somebody to listen, I decided to do flops today because we love flops. Everybody loves flops. Flops are fun, right? They're shows that just didn't work for whatever reason. And you'll hear all different kinds tonight, including some that have just amazing casts of people that you would think that it could just be people just whistling on stage and people will go see it because of some of the cast you're going to hear. But it doesn't matter. But the one thing that you can almost always, and I always say almost always because it's not always true, there's exceptions to every rule, but the one thing that is almost always true about a flop is that the book is the problem or one of the problems. You can always, the music to most of these shows is actually really quite wonderful. Some of them I love. Some of these shows I love, but the scripts are terrible, and that's why they don't work. Or, they open at the wrong time or whatever. There's tons of reasons why shows don't work. The majority of the time, I would wager that it's the book. Where we're going to begin, though, is mostly the book, and just because the author was a little crazy. It's E.Y. Harburg and Sammy Fain's Flahuli, which it opened in, when did it open? May 14th, 1951. It ran 40 performances. And in doing research for this, I didn't realize that E.Y. Harburg was one of the people outed in the Hollywood blacklisting. And he apparently didn't take it well, which I imagine you wouldn't. And so when you read the synopsis of this play, it is bat crap crazy. It is insane. It takes place in a fictional world with a big toy company and an Arab guy who comes in because the genie that keeps their well running is not there, and they need a guy to make a toy to find it. And it's insane, but it's overtly against Joseph McCarthy and that what happened in the Hollywood blacklisting, and to the point where the doll has this creepy laugh, okay, super creepy laugh, like insanely creepy laugh. All right, so this guy makes this toy with this laugh. Okay, like that serial killer creepy laugh. All right, so they do that, but originally, the doll, when you held it upside down, was supposed to say, what was it? Dirty Red. So you can see where it sort of fell off, okay? So here is the original cast of Flahuli with B.G. Bigelow Incorporated on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Or tinker toys that tink, or things that plunk and clink. The greatest firm on earth is Bigelow, B.G. Bigelow Inc. B.G. Bigelow Inc. B.G. Bigelow Inc.
Our dolls, they giggle, they shake and wiggle, but never break or shrink. Not when made by B.G. Bigelow.
B.G. Bigelow Inc.
The nation's biggest toy coon, biggest brain in toys, fills our lives with rubber and plastic joys.
Twixt child and man we think there is a missing link. That missing link is B.G. Bigelow, B.G. Bigelow Inc. A boy cannot grow up a gigolo with toys from Bigelow Inc.
B.G. Bigelow. B.G. Bigelow. B.G. Bigelow.
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 Bigelow. Bigelow. Bigelow. Bigelow. Bigelow. Bigelow. Bigelow, 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 Bigelow! Oh, bundle up all your cares and come to Toyland. Follow the trumpets of that Dixie band, where eyes shine and twinkle and brows never wrinkle, where everything is candy instead of can. Out of this hurly-burly hoy will I land, back to the days of sweet remember when. If you can get close to someone on a roller coaster, you can be on again.
Take that peppermint train back to Freckleface Lane. Find that happy-go lad who used to laugh at the rain. Blow that little blue horn, bang that little red drum, and let your heart go beating rum-tiddy-dum, tiddy-dum.
Tiddy-dum, 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 pum-pum-pum-pum. Over that hill of years and back to Toyland, back to the days of sweet remember when. If you can get close to someone on a roller coaster, you can be on again. B.G. Bigelow Inc. B.G. Bigelow Inc. You can buy your youth at Bigelow. B.G. Bigelow Inc.
Man, if you would just stop following me. And now that you're so bold as to be calling my house every night, at least let me have a little peace and quiet when I'm trying to take a walk.
Oh, Miss Mamie, you know I'm drawn to you.
Honey, when I get home from work, I'm tired. All I want to do is sit down and rest and relax. But tang-a-lang-a-lang, you ring the bell. It looks like here lately in the bar, anywhere, every time. When I'm in a quiet mood, here you come. When I'm deep in solitude, here you come. When I feel like settling down,
There I are.
when I'm gazing at the moon,
In falls your star.
my dial is set, the tone is low. There's nice, sweet music on my radio. I take a book, the story's fun. But when you ring my bell, I never get my reading done. When I'm in a quiet mood, up you pop. When I'm playing solitaire, in you drop.
The way you upset me make my heartstrings hold.
When I'm in a quiet mood,
Here I come.
it's raining outside, it's nice in the house. Everything's cool, quiet as a mouse. The doorbell rings.
Ring.
Who can it be? My solitude is ended, Lord, and it's you looking for me. Slippers on my feet in my boudoir chair. FM on the dial, the Londonderry air. The telephone rings. You say you're coming by, but when you get to my door,
Oh my, you act so sweet and you switch so coy. Maybe I was meant to be your playboy. I dial your phone to hear you yell scat cat,
that's right.
which lets me know that I'm your sugar brat. Now with a hankering heart, baby, I'll follow you. Your kisses are as sweet Mountain Dew. I ring your bell, but it's just old me. I come by to try and keep you company.
Kidding?
I sample lots of melons, and the flavor's fine. But you the sweetest melon on my vine. I know that you love me by the look in your eye. When I knock on your door, my oh my.
When I'm in a quiet mood, up you pop. When I'm playing solitaire, in you drop.
The way you upset me make my heartstrings hum.
When I'm in a quiet mood,
Here I come.
when the night is free to get my beauty sleep, I cannot sleep, so I'm counting sheep. The doorbell rings, shoot the sheep, bam, bam. 'Cause there in the door stands you, you old moth-eating lamb. I could scream, it's not a dream. Here you come to upset me, and honey, I'm leaving. Here I go, and I mean it.
I guess she really means it this time.
Well, if you're coming, come on.
I'm gonna follow. Here we go.
listening to The Musical Show.
Is it just me, or do you want to build a snowman?
Do you want to build a snowman?
Sounds suspiciously like Papa, Can You Hear Me from Yentl.
Papa, can you hear me?
But nobody realizes it.
Only on Spreaker.com.
They just now brought the cone in. We picked it fresh this morning.
Come on and buy the lady a hat to keep her shady.
In case the madam should ask it, fine palmetto leaf baskets for sale. His spinning wheel is spinning to make the finest linen.
You doing chicken buying? Got Rhode Island Reds for frying.
Ah, grapes are something to chew on. Let me weigh you a few on a scale.
Mullet, croaker, pompano too, cooked in a stew.
Petticoat high, petticoat low. Don't that slide trombone tickle your toe? Petticoat low, petticoat high. In the South they make sweeter than pie. When they read a man comes the two, watch this gal jump over the sure the man strikes all fair. And when I have caught every eye, that's when I petticoat high, petticoat low, petticoat high, petticoat low. My man was a special kind of man with a special kind of masculine appeal. I had not a dreamy sort of lad. He was down to earth, predictable and real. Poor man, gone. Poor Billy Carey. I married a robust man, and as a young bride, cooked his meals, scrubbed his floors, sewed the buttons on his drawers, nursed him when he got ossified. Sad was the day that he lay down and died. What a tragic day, just lay down and passed away. He was a jealous man, I never once lied. He'd come home, nod and say, where the hell were you all day? Me with all those clothes washed and dried. Sad was the day that he lay down and died. What a mournful day, he lay down and there he lay. 12 years we were wedded, for he tried not to sin. I know where he headed, for I hope he got in. Faith, he was a thrifty man. He had me hog-tied. How I scraped, scrimped and saved, and how stingy he behaved. Him with all that cash put aside.
That was the day that he lay down to stay down, scooted away down and died.
Oh, why did he die? Why did he die? Why did he die? Did he die? God rest old Billy's soul.
Sure, he was a stalwart man, walked with a big stride, large mustache, hairy chest, not too clean but neatly dressed, nearly bald but so dignified. That was the day that he lay down and died.
Just lay down that day, paid the debt we all must pay.
We had an old handmade bed, it wasn't too wide. He'd turn in, tired and cross, cough and snore and roll and toss. Oh, those nights I sat bleary-eyed. That was the day that he lay down and died.
What a solemn day, no last words had he to say.
I never made any friends, 'twas all for his sake. Now I've a great many friends I met at his wake. I withered in widow's weeds, Lord knows that I cried. Then a friend winked at me, black is not your shade, said he. Now I know what need was denied. That was the day that he lay down to stay down, threw his toupee down and died.
For Kathy Carey, she should remarry.
Amen.
That was Susan Johnson in the original cast of Donnybrook with Sad Was the Day. Before that, the original cast of Saratoga with Petticoat High. And finally before that, Anna English and Melvin Stewart. And I'll get to that in a second with Look for the Morning Star from Simply Heavenly. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. I actually don't know if that's Melvin Stewart. I assume it's the character known as Simple in the musical, but unfortunately, every place I've looked has only listed Anna English as the singer of that song. And when you listen to that song, it's clearly not just her. There's two people. So I really would like somebody to get this right. IBDB. And look, I love IBDB. They're wonderful, but, can we get it right, please? I'm just saying. So Simply Heavenly, okay, is based on the Langston Hughes novel Simple Takes a Wife, which is a bunch of short stories about a character named Simple. And it's just about him courting this woman and the whole thing. Langston Hughes wrote the book and lyrics, actually, and David Martin wrote the music for that. Saratoga is a little less fun and exciting. It's Edna Ferber. It's based off her book, Saratoga Trunk. And I'm just going to read this. It focuses on Cleo Delane, an illegitimate Creole woman who seeks revenge on the New Orleans family who exiled her mother when she became impregnated by their son. And then it's convoluted about posing as people and yada, yada, yada. So there's that. That's Harold Arlen and Johnny Mercer. And then finally, Donnybrook, which is Robert E. McEnroe and Johnny Burke. Now, Donnybrook is basically there's a fighter, and he kills a guy in the ring, and he decides never to fight again. And then he goes back home to Ireland and tries to court a barmaiden who was Susan Johnson, and her brother gets in the way because he thinks he's a wimp, and yada, yada, yada. Donnybrook is another name for fight, I believe. A massive fight. Now, let's do the numbers, as they say. Simply Heavenly, August 20th, 1957, 62 performances. Saratoga, December 7th, 1959, 80 performances. And Donnybrook, May 18th, 1961, 68 performances. We are moving on to Ray Evans and Jay Langston's Let It Ride. Now, Let It Ride opened October 12, 1961. It ran 68 performances. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like it would be about. It is about Erwin Trowbridge, who is a guy, I think he works for a greeting card company, and he can pick a winner of a horse race with absolute accuracy as long as he doesn't place the bet. So, of course, gamblers find out, and then wackiness ensues. Okay? There's also a song in this show that I was going to play, but then I decided not to because it makes me uncomfortable, and that's Broads Ain't Human. You can just imagine what that song is about in the time that it was written. But anyway, that's not the song we're going to hear. This is Ted Thurston and Stanley Simmons in the original cast of Let It Ride with Just an Honest Mistake on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Chief, we've done it again.
What'll we tell the taxpayers?
The same thing we told them last time.
To us minions of the law, your opinions of the law is a subject we would briefly like to touch on. If sometimes we try and fail, don't quite reach the Holy Grail, don't consider this a blot on our escutcheon. Forgive our failings and the results thereof. Do unto cops as you do unto those you love. Anyone can make an honest mistake, an honest mistake from the heart.
Like that long-suspected call house we raided from the blue and found we'd pinched some ladies from the WCTU.
It was just a little tiny teeny, just an eeny, meeny, weeny, just an honest mistake. Like when I told the judge, Your Honor, that's the killer right there. Good boy. I almost sent an innocent man to the electric chair. It was just a little teeny weeny, should have skipped that last martini. Just an honest mistake. They say, dumb cops, we think we're tops. Anyone can make an honest mistake.
That's the idea.
It's something we all have to pay.
Such a tease.
Like those guys who ask directions in a big black Chevrolet. They were the gang from Brinks and I helped them make their getaway. It was just a tiny little boo-boo. It's so mean when all of you boo. Just an honest mistake.
Like when I caught that burglar who was running with the dough. I whipped out my pistol and I shot off my big toe.
Oh, that was just a little slip-up. Anyone is bound to trip up. Just an honest mistake. Through rain, through sleet, we walk our beat. Anyone can make an honest mistake. An honest mistake from the heart.
Like when we broke up that spy ring and slugged the master spy.
Imagine our surprise to find he worked for the FBI. It was just a little tiny teeny, too much beer and tetrazine. Anyone can make a slight mistake. For example, Mr. Gallup said that Truman was the losing candidate.
Mr. Bonaparte marched to Moscow and got clobbered at the gate.
Mr. Ford put out the Edsel.
Mr. Nixon said, let's debate.
It was just a little tiny teeny, just an eeny, meeny, weeny, just an honest mistake.
You talk about the theater as if it were a jail. You don't know how lucky you are. Would you prefer to work as a grocery clerk or a waitress or be tending bar? Of all the callings I know, entertaining in a show is what I call the opposite of low.
The opposite of low is high.
You've given the correct reply.
High is better than low.
Joy is better than woe.
Glad is better than sad, and just in case you didn't know, up is better than down.
Smile is better than frown.
Don't be dragging a fearful, tearful face around the town.
If your spirit is bubbly, you win many a friend.
Bubbly's better than frubbly, so I recommend to sing wherever you go.
High is better than low.
You'll be better if you say it so. Warm is better than cold.
Much better than
young is better than old.
Much better than swim is better than sink. And so I think you should be told.
Laugh is better than cry.
And live is better than die.
Melancholy is just a folly no one can deny.
If you haven't an inkling
how to banish a tear,
you can learn in a twinkling,
starting right from here to
sing wherever you go.
Sing.
High is better than low.
High. You'll be better if you say it so.
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Little things with fur better hurry.
Chicks and ducks and geese better scurry.
When I take you out in the Surrey.
Surrey with the fringe on top.
Whatever, it's like I'm on a hayride.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Docteur, docteur, vous êtes charmant.
Mademoiselle, vous aussi.
You like my hair, yes. My lips, yes. The sway of my, oh, you say of my hips, yes. You want to play with me, okay with me. Come out and play with me.
Mademoiselle, vous êtes jolie.
Docteur, docteur, si gentil. You like my style, yes. My brand, yes. The lay of my, oh, you say of my land, yes. You want to pray with me, to stray with me. Come out and play with me.
Mademoiselle, vous êtes timide.
Doctor, doctor, you're so right. I like your, how you say, imperturbable perspicacity. It isn't how you say, it's what you see. We have the lark, yes. The fling, yes. The play is the, how you say, is the thing, yes. If you will play with me, mon chéri, though we may not agree today, in time may we may.
of your, how you say, of your hips.
Yes.
Come up and play with me.
Come on and play with me.
Come on and play with me.
Doctor, doctor, let's play doctor.
Mademoiselle, you're not well, but I like your style.
Yes.
Your brand.
Yes.
Silé of your qu'est-ce que c'est of your land.
Yes.
I like your how you say unmistakable authenticity. It isn't how you say, it's what I see. We have
the lark, yes. The fling, yes. The play is the all you say is the thing, yes. If you will play with me today, in time may we may.
Will you miss me when I'm drafted in the army? When I'm fighting Johnny Reb for old Black Joe? Will the tears stream down your face? Or will someone take my place? On second thought, I think I won't go.
No, 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 no. On second thought, I think I won't go. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna put a musket in my hand. No, no. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make me fight in Dixieland.
You can talk all you want. Talk isn't gonna do it. Come Saturday, they're gonna put your names in a drum. And they're gonna roll that drum. And if your name comes up, you gotta go. Now what are you gonna do about it?
Will you miss me when I'm lying in the trenches and the sky with cannonballs begins to glow? Will it choke you up with pride when they sing of how I died? On second thought, I think I won't go.
They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna put a musket in my hand. No, no. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make me fight in Dixieland.
Please don't think I'm the sort who would sell his country short. I'm as patriotic as the next in line. But it's damp in the mud, and I hate the sight of blood. Most of all, if the blood I see is mine.
Never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna put a musket in my hand. No,
You'll go when they come after you, but there's plenty who won't go. Like the rich with their $300 to buy out. When he knocks at my door and invites me to the war and politely says that I should do my share, I'll respond like a gent and I'll tell the president, Uncle Abe, stick your rifle you know where.
never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna put a musket in my hand. No, no. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make me fight in Dixieland.
Now listen to me. It's the blacks they're asking you to fight for. But do they go? No. They stay here and take our jobs. Is that what you want? Come on, men. Is that what you want?
No! They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna put a musket in my hand.
No, no, they're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make me fight in Dixieland. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna make me fight. They're never gonna put a musket in my hand. No, no. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make it right. They're never gonna make me fight in Dixieland. No.
That was Austin Collie, Stanley Simmons, William James, and the original Broadway cast of Maggie Flynn with They're Never Gonna Make Me Fight. Before that, Harry Guardino and Lee Remick with Come Play With Me from Anyone Can Whistle. And finally before that, Mary Martin, George D. Wallace, and the original cast of Jenny with High Is Better Than Low. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. So Maggie Flynn, let's see here. Maggie Flynn, October 23rd, 1968, ran 82 performances. It's by Hugo Peretti, Luigi I'm going to say this wrong. Luigi Creator and George David Weiss. Hugo Peretti, Luigi Creator, and George David Weiss. They did the music and lyrics for that. And then, so if you couldn't guess by the song, it takes place during the Civil War. Maggie Flynn runs an orphanage for orphaned black children. And she's married to a guy who leaves her to join the circus and become a clown. And then she dates a soldier, and this guy comes back, and it all comes to the head during the draft riots. And there you go. So truly uplifting and super fun show as usual. Of course, Stephen Sondheim, Anyone Can Whistle. Now that one was April 4th, 1964. It ran 9 performances, which actually isn't his worst. So there you go on that one. And if you don't know, it's about a corrupt mayor and these people who try and overthrow her. And all to save the bankrupt town that they live in. Angela Lansbury plays the mayoress in that. Some great songs from it. Anyone Can Whistle, obviously. That's a great song. Play With Me is a great duet for people. Great song from that. And then, of course, Jenny, which is Howard Dietz and Arthur Schwartz. Or is it Schwartz? Schwartz, yes, indeed. October 17, 1963, ran 82 performances. And Jenny's weird. It's about a couple, Mary Martin and George D. Wallace, and they do plays throughout the country, and it just sort of follows them while they're doing their plays. And it's like plays like the Mountie Gets His Man, or Chang Lu, the King of White Slaver, or The Sultan's Last Bride. And it's just sort of like slapsticky and sort of what I imagine like a musical version of a random just a slapstick comedy, apparently. I've never seen it, so I can't speak to it, but everything I've read about it, it's just these sort of random vignettes of these crazy shows that they're doing throughout the country. So there you go. Next up, we're going to hit up Mac and Mabel. This is Jerry Herman. And when I did the list originally, I didn't realize I was doing Jerry Herman back-to-back, but apparently I am. Of course, Mac and Mabel it's the relationship between Mac Sennett and Mabel Normand. She, of course, was the waitress in Brooklyn who became, in the musical anyway. So it just involves their relationship and all the hems and haws. Some wonderful music. That's, of course, Jerry Herman. This is, of course, the original cast of Mac and Mabel with When Mabel Comes on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Somehow the ceiling seems a little higher from the very moment I see Mabel come in the room. It feels like someone lit a roaring fire, but it's just the glow I get when Mabel comes in the room. The sofa stands a little prouder. That bunch of artificial flowers might even bloom. I can feel my heart beat a little louder the very moment I see Mabel come in the room.
The dingy curtains seem a little brighter. I can hear the tinny piano playing a gorgeous song. The grouchy doorman seems a bit politer. It's his way of saying, welcome home, you've been gone too long.
The day you left us was a small disaster.
You took the love and life
my paw.
I can feel my heart beat, beat a little stronger. I can see the straight of the years, the very moment, the first footstep appears, the very moment I see Mabel.
Walk the highest wire, do one extraordinary thing. Jump the ring of fire, do one extraordinary thing. Make the crowd applaud the skill and the daring of the frightened fellow in the main ring. Though you may admire what other mighty men have done, you top them all when you do one extraordinary thing. Make the mountain move, do one extraordinary thing. Life's worth more when you've done one extraordinary thing. Reach the farthest spot out on the horizon. Make your wildest dreams wake up and take wing. You can always prove you've earned your moment in the sun when you can proudly point to one extraordinary thing.
When your strength is failing and you can't continue, here's that path you don't even know is in you.
You can always prove you've earned your moment in the sun when you can proudly point to one
We go our dreary ways,
think that life's complete. And think that life's complete. We live a humdrum life. one extraordinary thing. Scale the castle wall. Do one extraordinary thing. Slay the dragon for the hand of the princess. Bring the flag of victory back to the king. Never let me on. The faces of the people run. The crown is yours for the kingdom. Extraordinary thing. One extraordinary thing. When your strength is failing and you can't continue, use that power you don't even know is in you. Make the mountain move, do one extraordinary thing. My strength will make you done one extraordinary thing. Reach the farthest spot out on the horizon. Make your wildest dreams wake up and take wing. You can always prove you earned your golden in the sun. When you can proudly point to one extraordinary
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Except for that time we went to see Phantom of the Opera. Let's see the gross half of your face so I can get out of here. That nose better be piggy. Shut up. You shut up.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Thinks I'm gonna cry, well I'm not. Thinks I'm gonna die, well I'm not. Thinks I'm gonna mope around until I rot, well I'm not. Not a chance, well I'm not. He thinks that I feel small, but I don't. Thinks I'm gonna crawl, well I won't. Thinks that I think he's the only life I've got. Well, I don't, and I won't, cause he's not. I'm gonna be at large now. Look at who's in charge now. Never reckoned I would get a second shot. Thinks I'm running cold. Thinks I'm gonna fold. Thinks I'm getting old. Well, I'm not. Ah, no. He thinks he's 17, ain't that cute? Thinks he's mean and lean, what a host. Ha. Thinks he's heaven's gift to girls, but you know what? Just ask Rose. Mother knows he is not. He thinks that I'll collapse, well, he's wrong. I've been under wraps way too long. Thinks I'm gonna miss his silly grin a lot. That's a laugh and a half. Thinks I'll sit and knit. Thinks I'll have a fit. Thinks I'm gonna quit. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm not. Got a few new tricks left. Got a few high kicks left. Gonna turn my thermostat from cool to hot. I'll sit in it. Thinks I'll throw a fit. Thinks I'm gonna quit. Well, I'm not. No, I'm not. I am not.
The revolution promised we'd no longer be repressed. No foreign dogs would dominate our brother. Now through our Ayatollah, all the wrongs have been redressed. And we're finally free to dominate each other. Revolution! 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 The solution for everything that's wrong. Revolution makes us pure. Revolution makes us free. It's the way the mass can get the glass out of society. Revolution heals the wound. Revolution cures the rot. It's the surest bet for getting what the other fellas got. The revolution promised inequality would stop. And sure enough, it's different than before. Now everybody's equal with the people at the top. 'Cause the people down below died in the war. Revolution cures the heart. Revolution cures the hate. It can make you free forever to be grateful to the state. Revolution shares the wealth. Revolution fills your cup. You can get what you've got coming if your leaders give it up. Gone the alcoholic juice, gone the ladies fast and loose, back to tea and self-abuse. Up the revolution. Gone the old Arabian toys, deviation and its joys, gone the beasts and gone the boys. Up the revolution. Silent the music, stilled the belly dance, up the eastern dress and down the western pants. The more we war and sacrifice, the more our store in paradise. Silent the music, stilled the woman's cause. Gone her face, her smile, her grace, behind a mile of gauze. Gone the Shah, gone the Yanks, gone our gold to foreign banks, gone our Bush and gone the pill, Visa and the dollar bill, gone the Levi, denim clogs, Big Mac pizza, kosher dogs, gone the disco, gone the rock, kippers, dippers, culture shock. Nothing ain't atomics, Islamic, coming from the West, it's disease. If not in the Quran, it's foreign. All Maoris, or shoot 'em in the knees. We won the revolution and we snapped the foreign yoke. The dogs of greed who overfeed and fatten. But then we traded what we want to keep from going broke. Now the revolution's owned by Chase Manhattan. Revolution turns the tide, revolution turns about, and it starts a slave behaving like the tyrant he threw out. Revolution cleans the slate, revolution pays the dues. But what's a war worth fighting for if when you win you lose? Revolution settles wrongs, revolution purges sins. It can make a traitor overnight, a loyalist if he wins. Revolution cleans the slate, revolution pays the dues. But what's a war worth fighting for if when you win you lose? Ha! Seeds of revolution, so it's growing, or overthrow.
was the original cast of Oh Brother with Revolution. Before that, it was Cheetah Rivera with Well I'm Not from Bring Back Birdie. And before that, it was Joel Grey, Florence Lacey, and Ronald Holgate. And the original cast of the Grand Tour with One Extraordinary Thing. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. Okay, so let's run it down, shall we? We'll start with Oh Brother, because it's strange. So take the Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors, put it in the Middle East, and make it a wacky slapstick comedy written by Michael Valenti and Donald Driver, and you actually get a really fun show musically. Never saw it, so I can't tell you about the script or anything like that, but musically the show's really good. There's some really great songs in it. I definitely recommend it. So that, now let's see. That was November 10th, 1981. It ran 3 performances. You can't make some of this stuff up, folks. You really can't. And there's a reason, again, we're going to get to another reason why certain shows just don't work. Like, okay, we'll get to Bring Back Birdie. Sequels don't work. They just don't work. Don't write a sequel to a musical. It's not necessary. So it takes place 15, 20 years later where Conrad Birdie comes back from the war and he disappears and they want to bring him back to play, and it's a whole thing. It ran for, let's see, Bring Back Birdie. Oh, by the way, Charles Strauss and Lee Adams did the sequel. March 5th, 1981, it ran 4 performances. Not shocking, right? Okay, so then we go to the Grand Tour. The Grand Tour is Jerry Herman again, all right? And that was January 11th, 1979. It ran 61 performances. Actually, if you haven't really gotten this yet, I'm doing it in chronological order from oldest to newest. So there we go. Just wanted to clear that up in case you had no idea what was going on. Okay, so that's based on the S.N. Berman's play, Jakubowski and the Colonel. And what it's about is about this guy, Joel Grey, who has a car but can't drive, and this guy who can drive but doesn't have a car, and they're trying to flee the Nazis from France. And I guess wackiness ensues? I'm not really sure, but there you go. And that was, did I say that? Yes, 61 performances on that. So you see why certain shows don't work. Convoluted plot lines, sequels, just making things weird, like taking, Shakespeare and just putting it in some weird place like the Middle East, and oh God. But again, you have wonderful music wrapped around sort of weird books, right? Here's another example. You have 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Oh, by the I did that. Yeah, I told everybody what that was. Okay, so 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. You have, it is, let's see, where Gene DePaul, Al Kasha, Joel Hirschhorn, Johnny Mercer, okay? The show ran July 8th, 1982. It ran 5 performances, okay? Now, this isn't the original cast because I don't think they made a recording from the original cast, so I couldn't find one. I found this is the British cast. Now, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers is about these brothers who live alone, and this guy goes into town and gets a wife, and that wife then moves up there, and then she realizes that they're all slobs, and she tries to reform them, and then they get reformed, and then they have a barn dance, and then they meet these other girls, and these 6 girls to go with the other 6 brothers, and then they make it so there's these other suitors for the 6 girls, and then the 6 brothers make it so that the 6 girls can't escape by putting up a barricade through the winter, and then they go up to a fishing and it's freaking convoluted as all hell, and it makes no sense. But the music is good. So here's the original cast of 7 Brides for 7 Brothers with We Gotta Make It Through the Winter on the musical show on Spreaker.com.
Let me out, let me just see her. Let me out of this cage.
Stuck in a barn with Cupid's cram, how can we live like this?
Why don't we go and sample just one kiss? Let me out, let me get near her. Gotta shout, gotta get free.
Didn't make plans to sleep with you, cuddle up by your ear.
I wanted to smell perfume and not smell beer.
But we got to make it through the winter, or we won't get lovin' in the spring. We got to make it through the winter. Millie says we won't get a doggone. Millie says we won't get a doggone. Millie says we won't get a doggone thing.
I see Dorcas lying there in a silky gown.
Gosh, when my Martha's in the tub, soaping herself down.
Wow! Did you see how Alice danced? Never seen such curves.
Yeah! Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. You're getting on our nerves.
Let me out, let me out, let me caress her.
He'll caress her.
Let me go through the door, fellas, it's war.
Gonna bust in and stake my claim. What am I, man or mouse?
We should be with our women in that house.
Let me by, let me by, let me get to her.
He'll get to her.
Feeling bad, going mad,
Going hog wild.
Ought to be squeezing someone soft, somebody soft and frail. Who would have dreamed that she'd be big and male?
Oh, we got to make it through the winter. Oh, we won't get loving in the spring. We got to make it through the winter. Billy says we won't get a doggone thing.
Nothing would be half as nice as stroking Sarah's hair.
Yeah! Touching Liza while her clothes are hanging on a chair.
Yeah!
Both all sigh and beg for more when we begin to pat.
Yeah! Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. You got us in a sweat. Yes, we got to make it through the winter. Oh, we won't get loving in the spring. We got to make it through the winter. Oh, Millie says we won't get a doggone. Millie says we won't get a doggone. Millie says not a doggone we. The winter.
This is the one situation I wanted most to avoid. Nothing I say will convince him this isn't a trick.
A drink on a clear moonlit night. I relax, she smiles. There's something peculiar going on.
So through no fault of my own, I'm in it way over my head. Embarrassed, outnumbered, marooned.
Now she can't be working for them. I mean us. She seems to know what she's doing, but where is he?
He has to show up. It can't come to nothing. Perhaps it can.
Maybe he's scared, but he didn't seem scared in the game.
Oh, I just couldn't care less. He can go right ahead, go and wreck his career. I know I've done my best.
Well, at least she's a good-looking spy.
What if my Russian friend thinks that my plans have nothing to do with the chess? If I don't say something and soon he'll go, maybe I'm a nobody.
Listen, I hate to break up the mood. How do you say begin the begin? Haven't you noticed we're still one character swords in this idyllic, well-produced scene?
How could I not? Miss Vassy regrets. Anything goes with your opponent.
Never mind him, I haven't missed him so far. Maybe it won't do funny how all at once I feel nothing about that meeting matters anymore.
This is the one situation I wanted most to avoid.
My dear opponent, I really can't imagine why.
You think I'm the dangerous kind? Well, I am.
You're not dangerous. Who could think that of you?
You are so strange. Why can't you be what you ought to be?
You should be scheming, intriguing, too clever by half. I have to hand it to you, for you've managed to make me forget why I ever agreed to this farce. I don't know why I can't think of anything I would rather do than be wasting my time with someone like
You're listening to The Musical Show.
Gypsy. Ethel Merman's a stage mother who really pushes her daughter.
You'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate.
I don't have time to explain the plot of Gypsy. Yeah, sure, okay.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Okay, everybody, run through the hobo number in costume.
Professional show business comedy takes partners who agree that two-of-a-kind camaraderie.
That's me for you.
For me. Two performers with talent
And cheer.
One who leads,
One who brings up the rear.
keeping it clean,
Making it click.
making with the bits and the gags and the slap and the shtick. Timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
You either got it or you
Or
don't.
you don't got it.
1, 2, 3. Professional show business comedy is harder than may seem, as shown in this tale of this guy,
And this gay
a professional comedy team. Hey, Alice.
Yeah, King.
I am so mad.
Why's that?
My grandmother started walking 5 miles a day when she turned 60.
So that's good.
She's 92. We have no idea where she is. Hey, Alice.
Yeah, King.
I am so mad.
Why's that?
My wife likes to talk during whoopee.
So?
Last night she called me from Philadelphia. Hey, Alice.
All right. Enough of the hey, Alice. Stop the music. You said I could have one gag.
Come on, Alice.
I'm not going on unless I have my gag.
Okay, let's have your gag.
All right. Here it is.
Hey, wait a
I spent years playing straight man to you. No one knew all the stuff I could do. You took the stage. You hogged the light. Now it's Alice who's playing the palace tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, my silent partner, Mr. King Kaiser, the only comedian named after a role. But I want to tell you, as a performer, he's famous for his delivery. 2 weeks for shirts, 3 weeks for sheets. Sheesh! Look at him up there. On his off days, he moonlights as a novelty paperweight. A novelty paperweight. What is this, an audience or an oil painting? Oh, you like them cheap, do you? All right, maestro, let's give them what they want. Hit it!
since Mickey Rooney asked me to foxtrot. Oh, no. No, not the fiery music. Oh, they call me Josephine, the gypsy queen, the tambourine. I give it a flip, I give it a flop, a tippity-tip, a tippity-tap. My knees and thighs and nose and lap and spleen.
Her spleen.
My spleen.
Her spleen.
I bang my tambourine, I always like to keep it clean. A little bit high, a little bit low, a little bit here, a little bit whoa. I love to bang my tambourine.
The queen
of tambourine.
and
oh, when Josephine begins to play, oh yeah, ooh, she'll bang, 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 bang anybody in her way. Taking the stage, hogging the light, yes, it's Alice who's playing the palace tonight. She's playing the palace tonight. Professional show business comedy. You two will travel far if you got the wits for the gags and the bits and the guts to put up with the putts in your skits. You'll be on the marquee for the whole world to see. A professional show business comedy
Unhand me, miss.
Hear me out. The day they laid my father to rest, before I could quell the ache in my breast, the Princess Leonide said it was best. In fact, she decreed she did not suggest that I be married to a person of her choosing.
I'm sorry, I truly am, but that cannot excuse the...
Hubert, a cousin on her mother's side, Hubert, smelled of vinegar and cheese. Hubert had a hair at the end of his nose, and he barely said a word, if at all. He was not very bright or polite, and he wasn't very tall.
Why are you telling me this?
I sighed, I cried, I pleaded and prayed, but nobody dared to come to my aid. The Princess Leonide remained unswayed. The date was set, the plans were made, and she would not be disobeyed. The choice was marry or face decapitation.
She was gonna kill you?
She's that kind of girl. I fled, yes, fled, to save my head, away from the man who filled me with dread, the one the princess would force me to wed, to take into my virgin bed. I'd sooner be old, no, dead, than face that ultimate, that violation. The name itself can make me cringe. And the Princess Leonide gave chase.
They gave chase through the woods and the swamps with a pack of vicious dogs they tore. And they howled and they snapped.
I was trapped, and it, what? Began to snow.
It did? This was when?
Bear with me. Oh, it's so hard to catch my breath when I think how close to death I came, especially when the forest around me burst into flame.
It burst into flame?
Yeah, crazy, huh? I ran through the smoke, through the dark and the heat, as embers scorched my legs and feet. I ran by night and slept by day, in ditches all along the way. I twice fell ill and almost died.
Of what?
Yes, what? What?
Myopia.
You survived it.
Yes, but I must confess, I did not wait to convalesce. I dragged my poor sick bones to find a sanctuary of some kind. I stumbled on a place designed to treat diseases of the mind and met a surgeon who was blind. A man from
Ethiopia.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Wait, there's more.
More?
Yes, he told me about this wonderful place. He spoke of the life you all embrace, a life of order, calm, and grace. I long for that in any case.
Fantastic!
Yes, so then, clad as a lad, I appeared at your gate in search of the man I venerate. Hermocrates, I stand in wait, my mind a clean, unsullied slate, to edify, to educate. But alas, I am unwanted.
No.
Yes.
Unwelcome and unwanted.
You hate me, sir. Hubert is looking better all the time.
Hubert? Oh, no, Cecile, I must be sensitive to your piteous condition. I have pledged to be your friend, and as such, I promise to shelter you from our common enemy, Princess Leonide.
The bond that can't be broke.
Or pirates.
Whatever. The sad and sordid saga of Cecile.
That was Susan Egan in the original cast of Triumph of Love with the sad, sordid saga of Cecile. Before that, Andrea Martin, Mar DeRosian in the original cast of My Favorite Year with professional showbiz comedy. And before that, Judy Kuhn and David Carroll with Terrace Duet from Chess. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. Okay, so let's do a little tidying here, right? Chess, April 28th, 1988, 68 performances. My Favorite Year was December 10th, 1992, 36 performances. And, of course, Triumph of Love, October 23rd, 1997, 85 performances. And Triumph of Love, so in Commedia dell'arte style, chamber music style, very convoluted, like Three's Company type love stuff happening with, mistaken identities and plots and infiltrates and all sorts of craziness. But that show particularly is the prime example of it doesn't matter who's in your show. It doesn't matter. If the material isn't great, it doesn't matter. F. Murray Abraham, Betty Buckley, Susan Egan, Roger Bart, Kevin Chamberlain, and Nancy Opel. If that show's not running based on star power, I mean, you can have maybe some bigger stars, sure, fine, but you're not getting much bigger. And that show ran 85 performances. So it's not about names in theater. Sometimes it is. Sometimes, and it can be for a little while. It can sustain it for a little while. But sometimes it doesn't matter. Because if the material's weird and nobody likes it, no one's going to go see it just to see them perform because they'll just wait for them to do something that they like, right? So, okay. So then we did that. So let's see. My Favorite Year, yes, which is set on the King Kaiser Comedy Cavalcade and follows Benji and Alan Swan, who is this drunk and womanizer, and he's doing a sketch, and it's just crazy fun. That's, of course, Lynn Ahrens and Flaherty. Triumphs of Love was Jeffrey Stock and Susan Birkenhead, and, of course, Chess was Tim Rice, Bourne, Ulvaeus, and Benny Anderson, of course, of ABBA? ABBA. I think it was ABBA. Yeah, so then you get that My Favorite Year, which is a fantastic show. Fantastic show, and it didn't run. It didn't work. I mean, you're talking about Tim Curry. Tim Curry, Andrea Martin. I mean, Andrea Martin's a huge name in theater. So, again, it doesn't matter. Ahrens and Flaherty wrote it. If people don't like the subject or don't find the subject funny, because the music's great, the lyrics are great, so something had to be wrong. I just don't know what it is. It could be when it started. Who knows? It doesn't. I don't know. Nobody knows. And then Chess, which is just convoluted as hell, but wonderful. Maybe one of the most done shows as far as cast recordings go. But it just does it. The script is crazy convoluted. Go read a synopsis of it. You'll be dizzy in 30 seconds. Really, seriously. Up next, we're going to hit up on the Civil War. That's, of course, Frank Wildhorn and Jack Murphy. That was April 22nd, 1999, 61 performances. I actually had the chance to see this show, and it's exactly what it sounds like it's about. It's about the Civil War from all sides, slaves, Union, Confederate, everything, right? And it was just weird. It should have been done as a concert. It was tried to be done as a play with a through line, and it didn't work. The music is good, but most Wildhorn music is really good. It doesn't work. So they never really did a original Broadway cast of Civil War. They did this concept album where they got all these different artists to do it, country artists and all sorts of different people. This is the Broadway All-Stars from the original, the original concept album of Civil War with O.B. Joyful on The Musical Show on Spreaker.com.
When this war is over, we all have passed away. There'll be some damn fool in some damn school right about today. That's right. He'll tell them how we all survive this bull crap every day. And they never said that thing it was that helped along the way.
Oh, be joyful, makes my troubles disappear. A cup of oh, be joyful, makes me joyful, I am here.
Oh, be joyful.
Only you can set me free. You're good enough for U.S. Grant.
You're good enough for me.
We get up every morning and we march through all this mud. Yeah. Always toting this and lifting that and eating some old spud. I know that's right. And if you find a woman, you are bound to catch the crud. But there is always one thing that will ossify the blood.
Be joyful, makes my troubles disappear. A cup of oh, be joyful, makes me joyful, I am here. Oh, be joyful, only you can set me free. You're good enough for U.S. Grant.
You're good enough for me.
Bad shoes, bad food, lousy brass. Oh, be joyful,
save my ass.
Well, we're marching through this double quick, and this sergeant's too damn rough. And this Dixie mud is mighty slick, and this bread is hard and tough. But that's the crap they put us through, and brother, we obey. So thank God for his nectar. That'll get us through the day.
be joyful, makes my troubles disappear. A cup of oh, be joyful, makes me joyful, I am here. Oh, be joyful, only you can set me free.
Set me free.
You're good enough for U.S. Grant.
You're good enough for me. Now listen, John Brown is lying in his grave. The son you would be too. If you ain't this crap they gave us, it will turn your innards blue. I don't know, but I've been told a soldier's life is hell. But son, I'll give you something that'll get you mighty well.
Oh, be joyful, makes my troubles disappear. A cup of oh, be joyful, makes me joyful, I am. Be joyful, you can set me free. You're good enough for U.S. Grant.
You're good enough for me, yeah.
Bad shoes, bad food, lousy brass. Oh, be joyful, save my ass.
Our Father, who art in Washington, Abraham be thy name. Thy will be done to every word, and Dixie take the blame. Give us our daily ration of crackers, salt, and pork. For thine might be the power, but let us pull the cord.
Oh, be joyful, makes my troubles disappear. A cup of oh, be joyful, makes me joyful, I am here. Oh, be joyful, only you can set me free.
Set me free.
You're good enough for U.S. Grant.
Well, they're good enough for me.
Oh, be joyful, makes my troubles disappear. A cup of oh, be joyful, makes me joyful, I am here. Oh, be joyful.
out. All I need's a sympathetic friend to help me find a way to leave. Love's maze is a magical labyrinth, close paths hidden far from gaze. Love's maze is for lovers in jeopardy, lost there in a rainbow haze. Won't you save me? Please assist me. Help me decipher its intricate ways. Love has touched me, love has kissed me, holding me prisoner deep in this maze.
Well, you can't blame me. Cupid never pays. You'll saunter around for days inside.
Love's maze is a mystical wonderland, conceals what the heart conveys. Love's maze is a puzzle in paradise, misleads all the eye surveys.
I did warn you. I have sworn to steer a wide berth, for I know to my cost. It's predicted, self-inflicted. People in mazes do tend to get lost.
All I need's a very special friend to rescue me from here inside. Love's maze is a crazy kaleidoscope, all roads leading different ways. Love's maze like a swaying calliope, one dance where the piper pays. Love's maze is a hatter's mad party time, one feast lasting nights and days. Love's maze is a fireworks spectacular, bright skies as the bonfires blaze. All praise as we dance in its corridors, all part of these grand displays. Behold every lover who's ever born, all lost in their own love's maze. All I need's a little help from you.
You'll never drag me there inside.
Love's maze is a crazy kaleidoscope, all roads leading different ways. Love's maze like a swaying calliope, one dance where the piper pays. Love's maze is a hatter's mad party time, one feast lasting nights and days. Love's maze is a fireworks spectacular, bright skies as the bonfires blaze. Love's maze is the magical labyrinth, close paths hidden far from gaze. Love's maze is for lovers in jeopardy, lost there in a rainbow haze. All praise as we dance in its corridors, all part of these grand displays. Behold every lover who's ever born, all lost in their own love's maze.
You're listening to The Musical Show.
In high school, I played center field in the musical Damn Yankees.
All you really need is heart.
Yeah, you don't want to brag about that.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Off he goes through the square. How superb, how strange. Who'd have thought he'd change? Who'd have thought he'd dare? One splash of blue and another of red. That's how I paint in my head. But in the street, well, it's not up to me. I do what they need to see. In my mind, I paint a different scene. A sky of blue, a sea of green, a smudged horizon in between. Meanwhile, my life is a study in gray. I can feel it slip away. While Du Soleil dares to walk through his walls, my dreams are trapped in my brain. He has the courage to alter his life. Here's where I'm doomed to remain. If I drew the paintings in my mind, they'd be the wonder of mankind, our whole existence redefined. This brush will never be my brush with fate. I'm not even second rate. One splash of dull in a sea of cliché, 24 portraits a day. They stand in wonder at what I can do. Somehow that's wonderful too. So I should be glad of what I got. A man who's happy with his lot will never be what he is not. I make the world brighter just for a while. I know how to paint a smile.
When you were young, didn't you have dreams that you let go of? 'Cause somebody told you that you weren't allowed to dream the way you do. Just 'cause you were different. Like when I was 12, I bought myself some LA lights. Remember those shoes you could see at night? 'Cause Brian Noonan ruled and he wore them to school, and I hated him, but I wanted to be cool. And when I got to 9th grade, I really thought if I made the football team, they wouldn't be mean, but I could never have seen what being cut from a team would mean to me. 'Cause right here was the first place I felt home, with no fear of my life spent all alone. It was clear under these electric stars, no matter what they said from over there, this field was ours, right here.
Well, that's touching.
Come on, man, you used to love this stuff.
Used to. I'd like to think I've changed a little since I left this place.
No, this place made us who we are.
Did you think you'd never change? You'd just stay in some epic, strange yearbook moment. Except you moved away, and you can pray that they'll stay. But the good old days say goodbye, and sorry you're different.
No, 'cause we're still young, and though you may have tried to rid our lives of the cool people's bullshit, the bruises to
What
prove
he said.
it stung are still here, 'cause we're still different.
Oh, please just let it be, 'cause no one's making sense right now. Yes, we changed and aren't sure how, but I don't care what it took me to get to here from there. I may be different, but I'm still me, I swear.
I know you're right, so am I. We can change, but we can't deny we'll always be the guys we were when we met. And back when we began it, we didn't plan it,
But we can't forget. Right here was the first place you felt home, with no fear of a life spent all alone. 'Cause it's clear under these electric stars, no matter what you say from over there,
this is ours.
Right here was the first place I felt home, with no fear of my life spent all alone. 'Cause it's clear under these electric stars, it doesn't matter what they say over there. 'Cause this is ours, right?
Here is a better place than home, 'cause it's clear that we'll never be alone.
This here under these electric stars, no matter what you say from over there,
we'll still be right.
That was Stephen Booth, Andrew Call, Jesse J.P. Johnson, and Adam Halpin with Right Here from Glory Days. Before that, Norm Lewis from Amore with Painter's Song. And finally before that, it was John Scherer, Emily Lesser, and the original London cast of By G's with Love's Maze. You're listening to The Musical Show on Spreaker.com. So let's do a little spring cleaning. Nick Blamier did Glory Days. Amore's Michael Legrand and Didier Van Castlewaert. I'm going to pronounce that terribly, and I apologize, but I'm from Jersey. I continue to use that as a crutch. And Andrew Lloyd Webber and Alan Ackborn did By Jeeves. So, okay, now we got numbers for you, because we all love numbers, and they're fun, right? So we have, let's see, where are we going to start with that? By Jeeves, October 28th, 2001. It ran 73 performances, which is super good. Amore, October 20th, 2002, ran 17. And let's see, Glory Days. This is the king one right here, folks. This is the fantastic one right here. May 6, 2008, one performance. Okay, so Glory Days is about these four guys who meet up a year after they graduated high school in the middle of the football field, and it's drama ensues. Just drama. Somebody comes out, one of the other guys feels betrayed because his friend came out. It's a whole thing. It is male post-high school drama angst better than you've ever heard it written before. The music isn't bad. It's just angsty, right? It's just angsty and kind of, you just kind of want to punch them in the face sometimes, no big deal. Amore is, and this is where we get to, so certain things work and certain things don't. So with Amore, it's adapted from a 1943 short story, Le Passe Murale, which I'm not even sure I'm saying right. So it's set in Paris after World War II. And this guy who's a clerk, he develops the ability to walk through walls. And so he has to then decide how he wants to live his life. Does he want to be a good person who walks through walls and helps people? Or does he want to be a bad person who walks through walls and just steal money? And so there you go. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't tell you. But again, the music is wonderful. Listen to the music. It's really good. Malcolm Getz, Norm Lewis. So it's really good. It's just you assume script, not assume script. You just when you hear the music and the music is good, you assume the script, right? That's what we all do. And then by Jeeves is, of course, based on the P.G. Wodehouse short stories Jeeves, and it follows them. But if you couldn't tell that was Andrew Lloyd Webber, there you go, because it always sounds like him to me. It really, really does. So that's the thing, right? We have so many different ways in which a show doesn't work. I don't know why Glory Days only lasted a show. That's weird, right? 1, 5, 7, you assume that there's enough that you at least get a couple days of a run. So it couldn't be because word of mouth was bad. I mean, I guess it could be because there are previews, but it's hard to understand why these things happen. It just is. And so you look at things, and when you listen to music and you listen to the lyrics and you see that you like them and they're both good, you have to assume either it was the direction. Most of the time, it's not the performers. When you see some of these performers, they're good. And so you just assume that it's the book. Or the producer did a terrible job, which is also a definite possibility. Next up, we are going to visit Wonderland, which is, of course, the modern-day telling of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, set in New York City. And it focuses on Alice and her daughter, 10-year-old daughter. This is Frank Wildhorn and Jack Murphy. I really like this show a lot. I love the music. But Frank Wildhorn writes good music. He just does. But, the problem usually for him is book. That's usually the problem. So you have a nice retelling of it. And I really like the music. But, again, I didn't see it, so I couldn't speak to the book or how it translates to the stage, which you assume is the bad part. This is Kate Shindle in the original cast of Wonderland with I Will Prevail on The Musical Show on Spreaker.com.
A child believes the best in you. And that belief always makes the darkest lies seem almost true. With sleight of hand, this almost truth can beguile the purest youth to Wonderland. Now every piece is in place, and all that's left to erase before I take over all the power is every trace of dear Alice
You're listening to The Musical Show.
It's the only kind of music that the Huns and the honeys love to sing.
That's our Hitler. No way.
Only on Spreaker.com.
Betsy's getting married, yes sirree, it's true. Finally Jack got it through his head. Betsy's getting married, long past overdue. 31 years of holding tight and crossing my fingers every night. You better believe I'm wearing white, 'cause Betsy's getting wed. Betsy's getting married, call my college gang, even though they gave me up for dead. Betsy's getting married, get me Vera Wang. 31 years I climbed that hill, 17 years I'm on the pill. Lisa Levine's on Jade 8 still, but Betsy's getting wed. Ooh, isn't he smart and sweet and dreamy? Ooh, don't I wish Mom and Dad could see me? Ooh, all of these wannabes wanna beat me. It might be luck, it might be fate, but whatever it is, it was worth the wait. Who is that princess wearing Prada? Who is the toast of all Nevada? Ooh, who's gonna get the whole enchilada? He'll be mine and I'll be his. It took forever, but here it is.
Betsy's getting married. Get that girl a drink. Send that couple breakfast in their bed.
31 years I knit my brow, wondering when and who and how. Well, baby, I hit the jackpot now. 'Cause Betsy's getting wed.
8 of diamonds.
9 of diamonds.
10 of diamonds.
10 of diamonds. Keep your hands steady, keep your head clear. Thank the Lord above, you got a straight flush. Keep your voice level, keep your cards near. Don't yell, holy shit, I've got a straight flush. Once in your life you get a hand like this. Get a completely unbeatable hand like this. And it's like God came and gave you a little kiss and said, go forth and multiply. Once in your life you get a hand like this. And though tonight might be all about wedded bliss, today will be all about making a run like Attila the Hun, vanquishing everything under the sun, plundering, pillaging, having some fun, and I'm gonna be rich because, son of a bitch, I've got a straight flush. Straight flush. Straight flush.
Betsy's getting married, there's no turning back. Betsy better not have been misled. Betsy's getting married, where the hell is Jack? Maybe he needed time to think. Maybe he had to call his shrink. Maybe I need another drink.
8 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds, queen of diamonds.
Straight flush to the queen.
Wow, this is really one for the books, kid.
9 of clubs, 10 of clubs, 10 of clubs, queen of clubs, king of clubs.
Straight flush to the king. Sorry, kid. you're out 58 grand.
p.m. Montmartre Carousel, bring 5 francs. 5 p.m. Montmartre Carousel, bring 5 francs. Here on a hill there sits a great cathedral where I've left a trail, but it only goes so far. Here I can keep him moving forward and keep things as they were, halfway to love and just close enough to I know my heart is speaking with a murmur, making a sound that only I can hear. All I can manage is a whisper of this heartbeat trapped inside. Here in this place, grant me the grace to be I could stay right here and let it all go wrong. Just stand right here. I mean, what the hell have I been doing all along? Maybe I can try and stay. Just stand right here. Here he comes, screw that, run away.
That was Philippa Sue in the original cast of Amelie with Blue Arrow Suite. Before that, Bryn O'Malley, Rob McClure, Tony Danza in the original cast of Honeymoon in Vegas with Betsy's Getting Married and The Game. You're listening to the musical show on Spreaker.com. So real quick, Honeymoon in Vegas, January 15th, 2015, ran 93 performances. Amelie, April 3rd, 2017, ran 56. And, of course, I didn't do Wonderland, I don't think, so let me just clear that up. April 17th, 2011, ran 33 performances. And if I didn't actually say this, I should have, because it needs to be said. One of the reasons I love Wonderland is because it sounds like it was written by Pat Benatar in the 80s. And it sounds like, if you've never seen the movie Staying Alive with John Travolta, check it out. And you'll understand why I kind of really like that show very much, because it sounds like it's just screaming 80s. And that's one of the reasons why I love it. Honeymoon in Vegas and Amelie are both based on the movies. Amelie follows the life of this girl, Amelie, as she goes on her crazy adventures, and Honeymoon in Vegas is about a guy who wants to get married to this girl, and he ends up losing a big debt, and the whole things ensue and nonsense. And that's, of course, Jason Robert Brown did that. Daniel Messi and Nathan Tyson did Amelie. And I think I said this, but Frank Wildhorn and Jack Murphy, just so I give them credit, just in case I didn't do that. So you see, there's nothing wrong with any of the songs you heard tonight. All the songs that I feel like all of them were good songs. That none of the songs I heard are the reason that any of these shows. Now, they don't have all great songs. There are tons of shows that have terrible music. Don't get me wrong. But it's usually the thing that gets overlooked is the book. It's usually the book is the thing that's get overlooked. And then you have other things into play, like maybe don't write a sequel to a musical, because musicals aren't left as cliffhangers. There's no reason to have a sequel to it. Unless you're writing some sort of weird musical song cycle, but there should be no sequels. Also, try not to make it so overtly political that you end up writing yourself out because you're angry. Now, listen, you have every right to be angry about it, but just don't make it so overtly political that people don't want to go see it for that. Oh, and listen, there's a fine line too in the sadness, right? How sad you want to make a show. And you can do that very well. There are some great shows that are just sad. I mean, Ragtime is sad, but it's glorious because it's not. It is actually bone crushing sad, but you get my point. There's no one way to make a really good musical, and there's no one way to make a really bad musical. A lot of things have to happen along the way to make a show run one performance or 30 performances or 10 performances. And everybody's had them. Everybody's had them. Stephen Sondheim, most people consider one of the greatest composers of all time for musical theater. He's had 2. Angel Lloyd Webber's had them. Frank Wildhorn's had them. Hell, Rodgers and Hammerstein. Everybody's had a show that didn't work for whatever reason. There's not necessarily one person to blame. As I've said, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say probably about 75% of the time it's the script. That's the problem with Merrily We Roll Along. It's the script. There's not a song in that show that is not great. The lyrics are wonderful. The script is weird. Going from back to front. That's the other problem. Convolutedness can work sometimes, but it can't be so convoluted that people lose track of what's happening and then don't care, right? They just don't care. Or convoluted where you take a Shakespeare play and then put it in the middle of the Arabian desert with, all sorts of nonsense. And some are just bad ideas, right? Right? Some are just bad ideas. Like the Grand Tour. I'm not sure the story of the Grand Tour is worth a musical. That's the one with the guy has the car and he can't drive, and then he knows a guy who can drive but doesn't have a car and they're trying to escape the Nazis. Did we really need a musical about the P.G. Wodehouse's By Jeeves characters? I guess we did, but nobody wanted it, apparently. See, that's the thing. And then you get things that are crazy, like Chess, right? Chess is crazy. Because Chess ran 68 performances. Yet it might be one of the most famous musicals ever written. I'm not saying it's the best. It might be one of the most famous. And that's what's crazy about it, is that cast recordings keep things alive and they keep things going even past the show's run. And so you get things that are weird like Chess or Anyone Can Whistle, which opened in the 60s but is still talked about today. And that's why we have it. And it's weird. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows how. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I mean, My Favorite Year is another one. It just happens all the time. So it's very strange. Nobody knows why. I don't think anybody ever will know why some shows work and some shows don't. But that's why we love shows that don't work, because we love doing the flop musical show. And that's going to be it for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for listening, as always. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I don't know what the show is, but if you want to know what the show is, you can follow me on Instagram on Instagram at The Musical Show 365. You can follow me on Twitter at The Match Show 365. And you can download past episodes, of course, on Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and I think that's it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Please be safe out there. Please have a great week. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Have a great night, everybody.